Thank you for listening to this podcast from TRE, Talk Radio Europe, your voice in Spain and around the world. For more information, please visit tre.radio.
TRE in the afternoon. Presented by Hannah Murray.
Good afternoon. You are now listening to Women Talk. Joining me in the studio today is Gail Shaw, Lily Taylor and Debbie Bennett. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you all for coming in. I thought we had to start with the Beckhams because it has been a massive story this week. I did talk about it on Hump Day Happenings yesterday with Franny, but I thought we should definitely mention it. So just to update people, Brooklyn Beckham, who is the firstborn of Victoria and David Beckham, had a bit of a rant, quite a long rant, 800-word, 6-page story rant on Instagram this week, talking about his relationship with his parents. And yeah, it wasn't great. We've been told over the last few months there's been a bit of a feud going on because Brooklyn wasn't there for his dad's 50th birthday celebrations last year. It all seems to have gone a little bit wrong since the wedding of Brooklyn and Nicola Peltz, another massive dynasty family. So he said things like, "My mum hijacked my first dance with my wife. My family values public promotion and endorsements above all else. Brand Beckham comes first. Family love, in inverted commas, is decided by how much you post on social media. The narrative that my wife controls me is completely backwards. I have been controlled by my parents for most of my life. I grew up with overwhelming anxiety. For the first time in my life since stepping away from my family, that anxiety has disappeared." Loads of people are coming out on social media either in defence of Brooklyn, saying good for him for speaking out, but most people seem to be siding with Victoria. She's almost at number 1 in the charts in the UK, which is quite random. And yeah, so what are your thoughts?
Over to you, Lily.
Go on, Lily.
I mean, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I've gone through different stages. Because first of all, for someone, if you're into like all the celebrity gossip and stuff, like that's gold. Brooklyn Beckham's gone and like posted 6 stories. It's everything you want. Yeah. And then another part of my first reaction is he just a spoiled kid who's grown up with loads of privilege? He's now gone and decided to go publicly against his parents. But then I also was talking about it with my mum last night, and he's got like a lot to lose in reality by exposing all of these things. And then I've seen on social media and TikTok, like everyone's suddenly become detectives. They're saying that this bit doesn't add up and that they went back to the Vogue interview of that and that story doesn't sound the same. So I don't really know if what he's saying is true, which also wouldn't surprise me. That's the thing. Like, I look at Victoria and David Beckham and I don't dislike them. I just think, would that be something Victoria could do? Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
It's strange, though,
I
isn't
don't know.
it?
I just think the whole thing is pretty inevitable when you're actually a child of any famous parents, really. But then you add to that, they're making a brand, so now you're the child of a brand.
Yeah.
I think it's terrible. The poor child. I mean, I don't think he's the brightest. And he's tried to make his way, which has been embarrassing and amusing, but embarrassing. I feel terribly sorry for the lad, really.
Yeah.
What I do think is that David Beckham should not have responded. Did you see he responded?
Yeah, he responded. I don't know if it was condescendingly or not. He said that kids are on social media and they make mistakes and all this. He didn't actually address the situation, but
very patronising.
Yeah.
So
I think one of the things that's quite interesting, we see a lot of reality documentaries of various celebrities, a lot of reality stars, where you follow them around and you generally see life as it is. You see them having arguments with their partner. You see them rolling their eyes at their partner or shouting at the dog or whatever, and it's supposed to be an insight into like real family life. And the documentaries I saw on the Beckhams, both the one they did together and the one that was just Victoria Beckham, were flawless. And I watched it and I thought, what lovely people, what a great relationship they have. Really? What a great businesswoman she is.
Really?
But my husband pointed out that it's been edited to come at, that's how they want to come across. So the idea of the importance of this brand Beckham is obvious by watching their documentaries, because that's how they wanted to come across. So that's how there was no eye rolling, there was no "don't you speak to me like that." everything was perfect.
Of course. And I'm definitely on the I really don't care. That's where I sit on
Fair
that.
enough.
It's just that I really don't care.
Yeah.
You know, who cares? People fall out with their families. They may be famous, but I'm really not bothered if some famous person is no longer speaking to their family.
No,
I
it
hope
makes no
they
difference to us.
Get
does
on
it?
with
That's
it.
the
I
point.
really hope they can put it behind them, because it is a sad situation. But
Yeah.
it's just a shame. It is a shame, but I don't know the people, so I don't know what to believe, and so I choose not to listen.
No,
Yeah.
fair enough.
One would hope that perhaps some people won't feel so jealous about being this privileged, because I actually don't think it's privileged at all.
No,
I think it's kind of
exactly.
the opposite.
Yeah.
To
Definitely.
have that much money young and not know what to do with your life is no privilege.
No.
I think that's like the problem, as you said, like going back to him being potentially spoiled, is that, as you said, loads of families have disagreements, and it is very sad and everything. But if you actually look at how it's gone down, there have been under scrutiny.
Yeah. Scrutiny.
But David and Victoria haven't actually spoken out about it, and they wouldn't against their son. He's always been the one to make the decision to unfollow, make the decision to speak out. So then that does also make me think, like, is he just speaking his truth, or is he just informing the world unnecessarily and trying to bring his parents down? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But why would he do that?
I don't know. That's
what-
the thing.
That's
I
the thing
think
that doesn't make sense.
I think one of the things it proves, as you say, Gail, about privilege, I would rather be spoilt with love than spoilt
Yes.
with money.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference. You know, we assume that these people that have all this money have like the best lives ever, but so many of them have really dysfunctional relationships. And I'd much rather, and thankfully do, have a good relationship with my family and have had with my parents, as opposed to loads of wealth, but we're not really talking to each other,
Yeah.
and there's no
Yeah.
real love there. I mean, who wouldn't prefer love to money? So yeah, the only other thing I would say, which I find sad, is how the woman always gets it in the neck. You know,
The
it's
wife.
Nicole's fault for corrupting him, and it just reminds me of Harry and Meghan.
I said that
Oh, yeah.
yesterday.
It was exactly the same. It's all Meghan's fault for taking Harry away from his
Manipulation.
family and all that kind of stuff. You know, these guys can have their own opinions, and so often when you get into a new loving relationship and you're sharing your thoughts about your life and things, you'd hope that your partner, in this case the women, are supportive, and they may well have said, oh, good for you, well, why don't you speak out? You know, they might have encouraged him, but I don't think that's a bad thing. You know, all the interviews I do about the importance of communication, that's all they're doing. They're communicating their feelings, and that's what we're supposed to do as humans.
I just think it's a shame too that they can't just embrace, their son's wife coming into the family. You know, getting a daughter, a new daughter, instead of feeling that the daughter or that she's taking their son away and things are changing.
Yeah.
Why they can't just expand the family?
Exactly.
You know, if they're that perfect.
Well, it's always difficult, but this is in public.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, it's a shame, isn't it? Because-
Absolutely.
Because family should be really, really important.
Too
So for
right.
them to not speak over something that could be sort out just with an adult conversation is a shame. Okay, would you go and live in the Antarctic for £30,000? They're looking for people to spend up to 18 months in the Antarctic, where temperatures can plummet to minus 89 Celsius. The British Antarctic Survey is seeking staff to work at its 5 sites, doing things like they're looking for chefs, carpenters, plumbers, plant operators, boating officers and meteorological observers. The contracts run from 6 to 18 months. They're pretty flexible. Salaries starting at 30 grand. Benefits package that includes 0 living costs. Accommodation, food, specialist clothing and tools are all to be provided. Now, I appreciate at the time in our lives now might not be appropriate, but maybe looking back to when we were all Lily's age, for example, is it something that you'd go, yeah, what a great opportunity, or not in a million years?
Too cold. It's the first thing. We're in the Costa del Sol. We want sunshine. No,
Yeah.
I'm not going.
You wouldn't
no,
have done that.
No.
And would it be because of the cold?
Yeah, definitely. I think it sounds like a great opportunity if you like the cold, but I never have and never will. So I'm moving on from that one.
Yeah.
I feel like it'll be quite cool. I mean, would I do it?
The opposite one.
I mean, would I
You should
do
be so
it?
lucky to be cool.
You'd be freezing.
I feel like, would I apply to it? No.
Okay.
Would I just randomly just abandon everything I've got to go to the Antarctic for 18 months? Is it enough money just to do that? No. However, if someone came up to me and said, look, this is a serious opportunity, and offered it and sold it to me correctly, I don't think it would be that bad.
Wow.
You know? It's only 18 months. But again, I wouldn't go and apply. Like, I'm not going to go and apply for this job. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't go for it. I don't love it enough.
Is it just sort of carpenters and plumbers? But for me, it would sound like a really brilliant opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, what an experience.
Exactly.
It's just different.
Yeah.
And I agree, I don't like the cold either. As I get older, even less so. But being younger, I could. Plus, if they give you those specialised clothes, because that is the point.
Exactly, absolutely.
It's not the climate, it's the weather it's the clothes you're wearing that makes the difference. So I personally would, in my time, have said, wow, it's a lovely idea.
Yeah.
If it was a job that I wanted to do there, I'm not good at carpentering.
Or
No,
plumber, or
same.
being a plumber.
I'm not sure any of the. I agree with you. I'm not sure any of the jobs I could do or could have done. But it is the kind of thing I would have jumped at. I see these opportunities all the time when I feel like I'm past doing that kind of thing. But when I was 18, 19, 20, I wish I would have like worked on boats. You know, we watch a lot of programs
No, I like
working as a
that.
steward
Yes,
and thing. I would have
yes.
loved to have done that as an 18,
and go
19-year-old.
travelling and be in warm climates.
Yes.
Still, there's heat on the agenda.
And it seems weird that the headline is for £30,000, which is not a
Not a lot,
fortune.
No, it's
I don't know
really
why they
not.
put that as a headline.
No,
I think it said
exactly.
starting from, didn't it?
Starting from, yes. So, could be better. One more and we'll take a break. Oh, no, actually, let's take a break now because then we're getting into wokeness.
Oh.
Hannah Murray on TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. You are listening to Women Talk. With me in the studio today is Gail Shaw, Lily Taylor and Debbie Bennett. There's a few articles here that are all connected to our woke society and things that are, you know, questioning everything. We've talked a lot about trigger warnings, which seem to be very prevalent these days on podcasts, in books, when going to the theatre, at the beginning of a film, all different forms of entertainment, I guess. You're getting a trigger warning. And the Royal Shakespeare Company has put trigger warnings ahead of Hamlet, one of obviously the most famous Shakespeare plays there is. And the warning is that it contains scenes of an adult nature, including death and depictions of grief.
Oh, no. Now you've spoiled the punchline. Oh, whatever next.
So, thoughts on trigger warnings, and this one particularly?
I mean, spoilers, really. I'm sorry, that really does get me. I let somebody else speak because that's
You
just,
have no words.
No words.
It's too shocking.
just beyond the pale.
I mean,
Yes.
that is just ridiculous, isn't it?
Isn't it?
You know, you're going through all these books and things that have been changed over the years. They're saying that this can't happen because it's going to offend someone. Seriously, who is offended?
No.
Nobody's offended. Someone in a room has just decided that we should do it because it's the right thing to do. Who is that person? Is he orange? Does he have blonde hair? And is he American? Just putting it out there.
I mean, I'm trying to think of this from like a personal experience. So depictions of grief, for example.
Yeah.
So I find myself watching something on television. It could be a TV series. It could be a film. And if there is a scene involving somebody dying or people crying over the fact that somebody have died, sometimes it affects me, having lost loved ones. Sometimes it brings up those emotions and I find myself getting upset because I'm relating to what I'm seeing on screen.
Yeah.
And I'll either choose to continue watching it and kind of go, well, this is a little bit of, you know, therapy. It's good to cry. It's good to whatever. Or I'll decide to stop watching it. And the same with the theatre. I would never, in that situation, if I ended up crying because it was reminding me of a loved one that I've lost, I would never blame the theatre. I would never say, why didn't you tell me there were scenes of grief? You've made me cry.
You're meant to be affected by great art.
Yes, exactly.
That is the point
Yes,
of it.
definitely.
And that's what makes me really cross. I mean, who is it that would not go? I mean, you come out of the theatre in tears and think, My God, that was an experience.
That was amazing. Yes, exactly.
I also... Oh, sorry. Continue. Sorry. I also feel like, it's kind of just insulting our intelligence a little bit, because also when you go to the theatre, it's not like putting on a random movie that you can then turn off, or a series and you're flicking through TV and you decide that you don't like it. You go because you've paid probably quite a lot of money for it, and you're sat down and you know what you're watching.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up in England, so I didn't actually study I didn't study specifically Shakespeare, so I don't know half as much as somebody who did. Probably should, or maybe I should know more, but I know Hamlet. And I know that kind of what it contains. And if I choose to go and see it, I know that... Do you know what I mean? I just kind of have an idea. Even if you have no idea, you have an idea of what you're about to see. And obviously there's going to be death scenes in Shakespeare. So if you're affected by that, that's completely fair enough. But don't go.
Either don't go or close your eyes. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, I don't like watching scenes of people drowning, particularly. And I have to say to Peter, it's just, is it over yet? Is it over yet? If somebody's underwater, because I don't like it. But I still want to see the film. You know, I still want to watch stuff. I don't need to be warned, because guess what? Debbie Bennett doesn't like people drowning. So it's crazy. The world is definitely gone mad.
We all have our little, I guess, triggers. We can call them triggers. My husband can't stand watching people do operations and seeing like knives going into brains and seeing the guts and gore. So he always shuts his eyes, and I have to tell him when that's over. But he's not going to be upset. Why didn't they tell me there was going to be... You know, we're all adults.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have been seeing on television lately a lot of, you know, this contains a lot of bad language or
violence,
things of violence or sexual nature, and I sort of think, well, that's all right because there's a child in the room, or would you really? Are you old-fashioned enough to really be upset? I think that's fine, but to put a warning on Hamlet, no.
But I find that ridiculous as well, about the bad language and stuff, because we have the watershed. So I don't think you need to. If I'm watching something, I don't know, a thriller or whatever, and there's going to be bad language, I expect it to have bad language.
True.
And in fact, when it comes on and it says this may contain some scenes of whatever, both me and my husband laugh, and we would generally say a swear word because we think it's quite funny and patronising.
No, you're right. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Although
you're right.
on platforms like Netflix, I presume there isn't that age verification, so I can see why. And they're just watching their back, these companies, aren't they? Like the theatre, they're just saying, well, just in case there's one person who comes out screaming, then at least we can say we warned them. So I get why they do it. I just don't know why people think it's necessary.
I have come across a situation where I've thought, I can appreciate why a trigger warning would be really good. There's a podcast I listen to which is generally really funny, really high energy, entertaining, swearing, rude, funny stories. But sometimes they'll tell a really serious story because people write in with experiences. And there might be a story about rape or abortion or something that's really serious and could be triggering for people. And they always say, just before they start talking about this sort of trigger warning, the next 3 minutes we're talking about rape, so if this affects you, please tune back in at 7 minutes 58 or something. And I actually think how good that is. I really appreciate that, because there will be people that are listening to this podcast having a good old laugh, and then suddenly, whoa, if that is something that affects them, obviously due to personal experience, then I think it's great to have a trigger warning for things like that. So
and strobe lighting, stuff like that. I mean, that's a real thing. That is a real thing which can affect someone's health. So
definitely.
I get that.
There can be reasons for
absolutely.
them. This I'm really quite shocked by, and not in the way that other people are. Ant and Dec take down sickening hanging video amid fans' fury. They've been forced to remove a social media post which shows them hanging from a washing line after they were accused of being insensitive to suicide. They shared a video which showed them suspended from the line so they're hung up by their shoulders, basically the clothing that they're wearing on their shoulders, with their shoes and trouser legs dangling above the ground, to promote their new podcast, which is called Hanging Out with Ant and Dec. But the video sparked outrage from various followers who insisted that the clip was in poor taste and triggering. What do we think?
I think it's just a bit sad that they're trying to frame Ant and Dec as if they were that insensitive. I don't think anybody in their right mind would think it's okay to make light or make humour out of something so terrible.
No,
so
exactly.
it's obviously not the intention. I'm not getting into the fact whether it can or not be triggering. Okay,
Yeah,
whatever.
we don't know that, I guess.
That's not for me to decide. But why accuse them of something like that? It's just, it would be evil if you were to want to make something like that funny. And it's very obvious by the cover, at least in my opinion, that they're
agree.
laughing. They're just because they're hanging out together.
Exactly.
They
the
look like
clue.
they're washing.
Yeah, well, the clue is in the name, isn't it? Hanging out.
Exactly.
Hanging on a washing line. It's a play on words. It's funny. They're not evil characters. That just seems. The next thing you'll be banning is Spider-Man going up a building for fear that it promotes someone dangling on a piece of gum or something. It just
It is madness.
It is mad.
It's not like, if they had ropes around their neck,
Absolutely.
that is different.
Yeah.
But they're
Completely.
not. They're hanging on a washing line. I mean, if people didn't say that, I would never think of that at all.
No,
I
they're
look at that
being
image and it's-
clothing is what
exactly.
they're being. They are just being clothing.
Yeah.
Who is this furious person?
There's been loads. One of them is actually someone I've interviewed who was an X Factor contestant, Katie Waisel,
Oh, I
from
saw.
a few years ago. Yeah, people have gone mad.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yeah. I don't see it at all myself. And neither do you, so that's good. Okay, let's brace ourselves. Let's take another break.
Hannah Murray. TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Women Talk. With me in the studio today is Gail Shaw, Lily Taylor and Debbie Bennett. Okay, books with graphic illustrations of naked adults and advising Willies aren't silly are on display at a top museum's children's reading room. Parents are furious with one branding a book a young Anyway, so this particular parent said that this book is a useful tool for paedophiles to groom children. One picture book displayed at the front of the reading room used by small children was entitled "It Isn't Rude to Be Nude" and had a drawing of a naked man sprawled across the opening 2 pages. Other pages were littered with pictures of nude adults and their genitalia, with one carrying the caption, "Willies aren't silly," accompanied by drawings of penises on men and women. Emblazoned on its cover is the label "Contains nakedness, and that's okay." There's some others as well. There's a graphic novel titled Rainbow Revolutionaries, 50 LGBTQ plus people who made history, celebrating drag queens and transgender figures and presenting highly contested trans theories as facts to children. In the glossary, it explained to children that gender affirmation surgery means surgery that helps trans people feel more comfortable in their bodies. What do we think about this?
I don't even know where to start.
It's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really interesting. The V&A I admire greatly. It's my favourite museum. And the idea that you've got something saying willies aren't silly is lovely, because willies actually are lovely and silly, aren't they, when you're a certain age? And they're not... And it's good to sort of get them out there, if you like.
If anyone's listening, please don't have to take it out.
There's nothing wrong with nakedness.
Okay.
And
In the right place. In the right
exactly,
place.
and especially in the V&A, which it's everywhere, isn't it? I mean, every
Nakedness
Roman
in the
statue,
V&A?
every Greek statue you see.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes,
Can't
of
really
course,
avoid
yes.
it. But
Yeah.
She didn't mean people are strolling around
good,
naked
yes.
in the
But
V&A.
it seems to be mixed up then with this the LBQ thing, which I find a little weird. But so I don't quite know what they're going to do, but I do agree that there's nothing wrong with nudity. Absolutely not.
No, I suppose it's all in context and the way it comes across,
is. So
because parents are concerned that they're normalising naked men, adult men, for children. And theoretically, apart from maybe in their own homes with their parents, if they're comfortable doing that, but apart from that, young children shouldn't be seeing adult males naked. And the question is, they're sort of normalising that.
Why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't they? They are sort of. We're going back to the models of, you know.
No, but people.
Around the
alive human beings.
Yes.
A young child should not come into contact with a naked man.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
In the normal situation.
Yeah, but they're not showing the photo of the Venus de Milo or whatever. They're showing a photo of a male human naked man.
But you know, you go into a library, a kid can be running around a library, pick up an encyclopedia, if indeed they still do these things, I've got no idea, open it on Rudy things and start looking at willies, because that's what kids do, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think there's a difference between... I'm going to disagree a little bit. Sorry. There's a difference between going in and looking at an encyclopedia, and children are always going to be children, especially teenagers, and you hear things in the playground, and that's where everyone, unfortunately, learns the stuff. But it's the fact that it's catered towards children, which I don't really agree with. It's inevitable that you're going to find out about these things. And I do believe that the education surrounding that should improve. And I think that's a good thing that's maybe happening nowadays, because until you're 12, 13, you're not actually properly taught anything, at least. And I'm 20, and that was when I was at school.
Wow.
So, and I don't think that's correct. But the fact that these books or these images are being catered to children in a museum where you're taking your children just to have fun, like, I don't know, I didn't go to the V&A when I was a kid. I went like recently when I was an adult. But whenever I did go to a museum, I used to just go to have fun and look at children's things or just learn history. And I just don't know why I just don't believe that should be something up to the V&A to teach children. I can understand why parents are a little bit angry about it, because we can just let children be children, and that's separate from the LGBTQ+ community. That's separate from everything. I just think it's almost unnecessary in that setting. I don't know.
I think you've got to see it in its setting. Actually, I looked at that article, and I didn't really know what I was looking at. You thought, what is this? What are people actually seeing when they're there with their children?
If you're saying that this is the V&A sort of taking over and educating the children on parts, then I get that. That's not their role in life. I get that. But I don't think images of naked women, men around in art, because it's in every art form you go to. Any art gallery, they're naked. You know, people are naked, and if children are seeing that, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But if we're talking about the V&A becoming the teacher of the parts of the body, then I completely disagree with that.
I think the message is kind of confusing. The title of the book, it isn't rude to be nude. I mean, what's that saying to a young child? Obviously, when you're a young kid and you're going to the beach, at a certain age of a young child, you are naked before you start wearing bikinis and stuff like that. And it does upset me, to be honest. Not upset me, but I think it is sad when you see really young children and the girls are wearing bikinis and they've got nothing to cover up. And I think kids should be running free naked on a beach a little bit longer than maybe they are, because they've got nothing to be embarrassed about. And I totally get that. But but that's down to the parents and how they want to bring their own children up, I think. I just think the title of the book, It Isn't Rude to Be Nude, is sending the wrong message.
I don't understand nowadays. I feel like there's two extremes. Like, we've got one story where you're going to the theatre and you have to be told that there might be distressing grief scenes, and then we've got the complete opposite where I don't know how old these kids are. Are they 5? Are they 12? I don't know.
Younger than 12. Yeah, we're talking 3, 4, 5, 6 young children.
And then we have books being exposed with those titles. I just don't
with no warnings.
Exactly. I just don't see how they correlate. One seems too one way, and then the other one almost seems too exposing when they're too young.
You know, parents that for years, for generations, have taught their children not to talk to strangers. And if a stranger pulls up alongside and offers you sweets or says, "Come into my car and I've got a teddy bear for you," all these kinds of messages that kids could be confused and think, "Oh, sweets, oh, teddy bear, this sounds great." You bring your kids up, no, you mustn't talk to strangers. And I just think, encouraging everyone to be naked is like a bit.
But is it? I mean, I don't know. Again, I'm not 100% sure on this one. Is it just about for them to feel comfortable with their own bodies rather than?
Quite sure it is.
Yeah, and rather than a stranger in the street being naked.
I agree, and I think that's a lovely thing.
Yeah.
But the opening page is a double page of an adult naked male. If it was about kids being uncomfortable in their own bodies, all the pictures would be children and naked children, which would make much more sense.
So that's more picture.
Yeah. Sorry, that's a different book.
That is a different book, I'm afraid.
Yeah. That's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah,
That
I
is
quite
very
just liked
strange.
other sort of views. So we have the view of the parents being terribly worried. I'd quite like some sort of other view of what they think the V&A thinks they're doing. There's nothing from the V&A there.
There is. They're saying that it's not offensive. They said the V&A said it had selected every book in the children's area and believed they were all age appropriate.
I think it's such a hard one to get right because I'm very split. Like I'm saying what I'm saying, but I can also see the V&A side, and I feel like they're trying to normalise bodies to avoid sexualising them, and I agree with that.
Yes.
But then, unfortunately, that it's a hard one to get right because then teenagers then do sexualise, and everything else is so sexualising nowadays. So I think it's such a hard one to get right, and I don't necessarily think this is the right way to go about it.
They don't think they've got it right. No, I don't think they've got it right.
No, it's a very, very sensitive subject.
Yes.
This is an interesting one. I wanted to save it to ask you about it because I asked the guys about it last week, but it's a female thing a bit more, and I think I'll get a different response from you all. It's talking about Emily Atack, very pretty actress who was sort of celebrated for being on the larger side, got big boobs, she's a sort of larger girl, and there was a whole load of women who were saying good for you for celebrating your natural curves, your natural size, and people kind of loved her for being a little bit or looking a little bit more normal in inverted commas. She's now lost a massive amount of weight, still looks absolutely stunning. She's posted photos about her over Christmas, and lots of people have kind of attacked her, Emily Atack. Saying that she's kind of betrayed them because she's lost the weight, and we thought you were, an advocate for positive body shapes, whatever.
I like her. I like this lady.
I do.
I think she's really funny. If she's happy being blonde, if she's happy having brown hair, if she's happy being fat, if she's happy being thin, whatever.
Yeah,
she's happy.
That's how the world should be,
exactly.
Isn't it?
Who cares?
None of our business.
I mean, so she was heavier than she is now, and she was happy and she embraced it. And maybe something happened in her life that she chose for health reasons to change something. Then good on her. If she's happy, then what does it matter to anyone else?
Yeah.
What does it matter?
I just think with the social media world that we live in, or the online world that we live in, everybody has an opinion. And
especially about diet at the moment, because it's all, they're on it, aren't they? They're taking it, they're doing whatever, they're injecting. Yeah. That seems to be the thing everyone jumps on now, but rather than just saying, good for them.
They look good,
Yeah, they look great, and they're happy, so... Whatever, have they changed? No, they haven't changed. They're still the person. And perhaps now she's saying she's a brand ambassador for people who are slim and going to the gym. Whatever.
I think we take everything way too seriously as well. Like, I really like her. She's an actress. And I know she has spoken out about being big, which I actually don't even think she's big. I think she was, like, normal.
Exactly.
Completely normal. Bigger than now, maybe.
Yeah.
But... I don't think she wasn't telling people, put on loads of weight. She was just saying, embrace what you've got. So if she's, whether for health reason or whatever it is, decided to slim down, that's none of anybody's business. Why are we also taking her for a role model, a body role model? I don't get it. I just think everyone, as you said, I'm just repeating, but everyone should just really do whatever they want.
Absolutely.
The same things happened with Meghan Trainor, the singer, because obviously she did the song about the booty. What's it called? It's all about the bass. Yeah, so celebrating her curves and her big booty, that's what the whole song was about. She's had a couple of kids now, and she's tinier than ever. She's just had her third baby, I think, and she's lost loads of weight. Again, looks absolutely stunning, and people are saying the same thing to her. I thought you celebrated your curves.
Which she did at the time, because that was a stage of her life, which for whatever reasons, and she was happy, and then something's changed, so let her enjoy the next chapter.
I think where it's different, and I think this is the problem with being someone on social media nowadays, is that whether we like it or not, they do have a massive following. They do have very young kids now following them, admiring them and doing what they do. So I think there was one case of a girl on TikTok who she didn't have much breasts, and she was a huge advocate and always battered people online who got breast augmentations and stuff like that, and completely against it. And then she did. And that was a lot of backlash for that. And you could say do whatever you want, but then at the same time, you've got millions of followers. You're telling everybody it's the worst thing in the world and that you should really embrace what you've got, and then suddenly you've gone to do the straight opposite. Technically, you should do whatever you want, but I can see how that may have received
if you've
more
made
backlash.
your money and got your following by saying one thing and then go against the grain, well, that's just crazy.
Exactly. That's not Emily's case at all.
No.
She's just living her life and saying embrace however you are, which I agree with Emily in that sense.
Yeah, it is something that a lot of these people need to consider. You know, they haven't asked to be role models, but a lot of them are. And they have to be aware. You know, we're seeing people cancelled all the time, which I also don't necessarily agree with. But people in the public eye have to be aware of what they're saying, what they're posting on social media. And yes, free speech, all that kind of stuff. You should be able to say what you like. But if you do say what you like, you should be aware that people will come back and go, I can't believe you said that. That's awful. That's not okay to say that. You know, that's the way.
But I think that's really important, is to think if you do have the following, and your following is because you are putting forward that you strongly believe in this, and then completely do the opposite, then you absolutely deserve to be pulled over or hold over the, whatever the expression is, pulled over, hauled over, whatever.
I think the point is, with both of these situations, both of these women, there are fans of theirs that feel exactly that, that feel that for years both of these women were saying, forget all these fad diets, embrace your curves, and everyone's like, and now they've both lost loads of weight. So it's not exactly the same as the breast thing, but that's what people are saying. I don't agree. I agree with what you're saying, but that's where they're kind of coming from, which is
what
interesting.
did the boys say about this?
That they sort of didn't really get it in the same way, because men don't comment in the same way that women do. Don't really have opinions in terms of what people look like and all that kind of stuff. They were really kind of going, what? I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Because story?
Especially online.
It was really fascinating, and it made me realise that it's, the massive difference between men and women, and how so many men, don't scrutinise male bodies in the same way that women scrutinise other women's bodies. Not all of us do, but just as a general rule, it's fascinating.
Really funny, isn't it?
And good for them. We could learn as a species, learn more from the men about that. Let's take the last ad break.
Hannah Murray, TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the last part of today's Women Talk with Gail Shaw, Lily Taylor and Debbie Bennett. I love this. Over 60s still dream of making their mark. Far from putting their feet up, Britain's over 60s are still harbour ambitions of doing something extraordinary with their lives. 2/3 of them feel they are more creative now than when they were younger, and almost 60% have drawn up goals. Top of this generation's wish list of dreams: to make 60 the new 30 is learning a foreign language, followed by writing a bestseller. Other goals were painting a masterpiece or starring in a West End play.
Good.
Absolutely brilliant. Bad luck, Lily. You've got this to come. But I think we've got too experience over this side.
So 80's the new 60 now, isn't it?
Well, why not? Absolutely.
I completely endorse that, really do. And I think part of it, well, certainly for me, I'm 64, I'm proud, is just it being the right time, because you have, in theory, more time. I certainly will be getting more time. So you actually have more time to do stuff. And I've got energy, I feel fit, healthy, and I want to do stuff. So I'm not calling it a day. I've got no wish to just stay inside and watch TV until someone comes knocking on the door and says it's my time. I want to live, so why not? I think it's absolutely brilliant. Do new things, do what makes you scared, just do it.
Complete change. It says great things about society that people can afford to. I mean, again, I think this is not necessarily everybody.
Of course.
There are people who are just too poor to be able to really do anything. To dream of putting a meal on the table rather than writing a book. I don't know. But it does speak, doesn't it, to the fact that in the main we have enough these days. That we don't, that we can get enough money to survive and feel good enough to be able to say, yes, now I want to paint.
Yeah.
That's really very advanced, isn't it? Societally.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're getting younger and younger.
Well, that's it. I mean, I don't think it necessarily means just paint. It could be working for a charity, for instance, and or doing a big sponsored walk, or
so many
whatever.
Things,
But actually saying, life's not over. I need to keep on achieving and doing things. So, and I'm definitely up for that.
I mean, the opposite.
Sign me up, but not Antarctica.
But I mean, the opposite to that is giving up.
Absolutely.
Isn't it? It's just going, well, it's got nothing to
It's
live for
wonderful.
now. There's nothing to. I mean, how depressing is that?
Well, and the other thing on that, the more once I got to 60, the thing I became really aware of is when they in the newspapers or something, and there was a 60-year-old, and I'm thinking, and you make out it's someone who's really frail,
Yes.
and we're not. We're all right. Thanks very much.
I think it's wonderful to have that mentality. I'm not even close to 60. However, I will dedicate this to my grandma and granddad, which I appreciate. It's about obviously money and depending on how much you've got, and that obviously does play a huge part in along the whole of our lives. But partly the fact that I grew up here and have my lovely life now is thanks to their influence, because they moved to Spain. My grandma learnt Spanish. They did most of their travelling when they retired and turned 60. Again,
fantastic.
Money permitting. But all the stories I have from Latin America, and they're all from my grandma and granddad. Their life partly started when they reached 60, 65.
Oh,
so
lovely.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we're talking about us baby boomers, aren't we, really?
Yeah.
Forging the way, as always. and, of course, medical science, keeping us able
Yeah, absolutely.
to do that.
I love it. I'm all for it. At the end of the day, if you've got your health and a little bit of money, the world is your oyster.
Yeah.
Too right. I think the health is definitely it.
Health is the most important.
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously, if you haven't got money, you can't start going on a round-the-world cruise. But if you've got your health, then you can enjoy life with your health.
Absolutely.
You don't need to be spending lots of money in order to have a walk along the beach, or in order to go for a coffee, or all the different, or to write but you don't need money to write a book, do you? It's just the time, isn't it?
And daytime TV is getting so much worse.
Yes, exactly.
You have to
exactly.
get
Thank
out.
goodness for radio. This is a funny one. What age do you think couples should stop holding hands?
Never.
Yay, never.
I
What
hold
a weird
Peter's
thing.
hand. I
Yeah.
always hold his hand. And I love it. I love it. In fact, when we're on holiday and you see somebody, or even here actually, just along the beach, and you just go, there's a couple in their 90s or something
Yeah.
walking along and they're holding hands. I love it.
Me too.
When it's kiddies, when it's youngsters, your age, Lily, they're walking along, young love, holding hands. It's just beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
I agree. People should never think about stopping that.
It's a strange question, isn't
It
it?
is really strange. Really strange.
Who's saying you should stop? Talk about romance instead. That's horrible.
I know. No, it just came from a website, and I thought it was an interesting discussion point. But the whole idea of giving affection to your partner in public, I mean, there are some people that of any age feel uncomfortable holding
absolutely.
hands or putting their arms around each other, or a little, just a little peck on the cheek or a little kiss or something. There are some people that go throughout their whole lives and never want to do that. So it's not necessarily connected to age, is it?
Yeah, I get that. There are people who, you're right, who that's what it is, isn't it?
PDA, public displays of affection.
Yeah. I think we learnt that from Love Island.
Probably. The lingo.
All the lingo from
PDA.
Love Island.
Oh,
Yeah,
funny.
exactly. And it's just such a shame, isn't it? Because there are people who can't. They just find it. I don't know. The touching and stuff in public is a bit weird. No, bring it on.
Yeah.
Obviously appropriate touching in public.
Yes, appropriate touching.
Not in the V&A.
No, not in the V&A. No.
Yes, no inappropriate touching. But I mean, I think if you're going to be in a relationship with someone long term, you would hope that you're on the same page with them.
Absolutely.
About
I agree.
that.
Yeah.
Why would you get into a long term relationship with someone if you loved holding hands and they hated it?
And it shouldn't be an age thing. It should just be, if you never hold hands, well then you never hold hands. It's a bit sad in my opinion, but if you don't like it. But it shouldn't be that you
Shall I
begin
hold your
to-
hand, Lily?
You shouldn't start and then suddenly stop because, I'm too old now.
No, exactly. Oh, it's lovely to see. We haven't got time to do a big subject because we've got less than 3 minutes. How a tidy child shows you've been a good parent. This is a weird one. Preparing a child to fly the nest is a fundamental part of any parent's job. Now a survey reveals the key traits that prove mum and dad have raised their children well, including having a good work ethic, respecting their elders and tidying their room.
Absolutely, yeah. Peter came to me having been able to iron, wash his clothing, cook and everything thanks to his mum. Absolutely, she did a good job.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I think giving your child confidence, social confidence and confidence in themselves, experiences, and tidying a room comes when they've just sorted themselves out, I think keeping a tidy room when you're a young teenager is a bit tricky, but yeah that comes. But I think give them confidence to send them out there.
Yeah. The tidying a room thing's interesting. Can you? I want to hear Lily's thoughts on this.
Hold on.
Well, I've got a good work ethic. I respect my elders. I've been taught very well. I can watch
we need to see photos of this.
However, I think my mum and dad will be very upset if they were accused of bad parenting because my room can often be messy. And I wouldn't say that that's their fault because they're always on about it.
Yeah.
That's a me thing, which I shall change. But no, they've taught me everything else, and I get the concept. Obviously, if you can't do anything and you're not respectful for anyone, then it may be a sign of bad parenting. But specifically the tidying.
No, just general.
No,
I think general stuff.
And I do think it is something that you grow out of.
Yeah.
You know, when you're younger, you know, you're in a rush, you just chuck it on the floor and go out. You just want to be as quick as possible. The idea of spending time, I certainly was messy growing up, 100%. But now I take a bit more pride in it.
Hate mess.
So were you even really, really tidy as a child?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah, I just didn't like mess. I think because I'm one of 5 children, so there's a lot of stuff in the house, you know. So anyway,
I think if you're messy, I think I said to my daughter, "Listen, it's your room, but honestly, you cannot think if you're in this mess."
Yeah.
And if you're doing homework, you can't think.
No.
And she actually understood that.
Yeah.
And tidied it up
Oh,
at that
good.
point. So,
we're at the end of the show. Thank you, ladies, very much. I had a message saying I will be 60 in a few months, and it hasn't even crossed my mind that I would slow down in my life. On the contrary, many adventures are waiting for me.
good for you.
Thank you, ladies. Howard Brereton is next. I'll be with you at 7 for the book show.
You've been listening to a TRE production. If you've enjoyed this programme, there'll be another episode waiting for you next week, right here on this platform, where you can also access our extensive back catalogue of shows and interviews. For more information on our live programming, social media channels and apps, and how to contact Talk Radio Europe, please visit tre.radio.